Got it.
Hello, hello.
Good morning.
Welcome, everyone.
Oh boy, Kathy, I think we're going to have a doozy today.
I think we are. Look at this. This is exciting. Let us know where you're from. I'm recognizing some of these names. I'm kind of excited.
Yeah, coast to coast.
Coast to coast. New Jersey. Hey, Arizona, are you still getting rain, Carrie?
Oh no, it's gone, but it was, whoa, it was a doozy.
Marysville, welcome.
All right, Kathy, I'm going to get our amazing one primetime too.
Let's get our music going and we'll start in exactly 3 minutes.
All right.
Hello, Michelle and Ed.
We rise every day, educational spirit, we're paving the way. Professionals in action, together we shine. This is one prime time, it's your moment, it's mine. We got one culture, bold and bright. One community, lifting lives. One connection, hearts aligned. One coaching takes us higher every time. It's one prime time, best in the industry. We learn to earn, and we earn to be free. Make your mark, let your story be told. Together we paint the globe gold. With one cares, we give, we grow. Through one podcast, the knowledge flows. We share the stage, we raise the bar. From every city to the stars. We've got one culture, bold and bright. One community, lifting lives. One connection, hearts aligned. One coaching takes us higher every time. It's one prime time, best in the industry. We learn to earn, to be free. Make your mark, let your story be told.
I'm just so excited reading everybody that's here.
This is our time, no holding back. One vision strong, we're leading the pack. Voices united, the future's in sight. One prime time is shining tonight. Final one, culture bold and bright. One community, lifting lives. One connection, hearts aligned. One coaching takes us higher every time. It's yours, this is one prime time.
Yeah, baby.
This is so exciting. And there is Rock Central. I'm glad to see you in the house. I thank you for playing the song, Carrie. We have to tell them about the song. Those of you that are commenting, Renee down in Florida that are commenting about it, that AI did that. I went in and just put the few words, put the 6 C's, put one coaching, some of our taglines, and ask it to write a song. And it came back and it said, what rhythm do you want? What beat do you want? And then I took it to a software called Suno, S-U-N-O, and dropped it in there. And isn't that the coolest thing ever? Welcome, everybody. Carrie, can you believe? I mean, we've got a great group on here today, coast to coast. If you're doing a watch party, let us know how many are there. So, Carrie, what are we going to talk about today?
Oh my gosh. Which is crazy, Kathy, that we are at this point in the year to start to plan for this. But I think now's the perfect time. The last quarter, we've got to start recollecting what we were doing last year or this year in 25 and start thinking about what we're going to do in 2026. So we're going to talk business planning today. And we are hoping that 2026 is going to be your best year yet. And we think it can get there with a solid plan in place.
Right. Without a plan. I mean, nobody plans even their vacation without having a roadmap. And I don't know about everyone else, but I feel like it went from July 4th to October 15th in like 2 weeks. I mean, I know you didn't at 118 degrees, but for me, it was just very, very quick that it went through. Look at all of that going on. So let's talk. We want you to participate today. We're going to want you in the chat line. We're going to want you participating in a poll. If you're hosting that, Pranima, it went by like super fast. If you are in the watch party, we're going to want a lot of discussion around some of these topics. And if you're like Scott Bergman and our authentic family, you're going to have a conversation afterwards. So there are going to be some key things in here that you may want to write down to talk about a little bit later. Absolutely. July 4th was like yesterday. And that means I'm getting like really older. You know what my mom used to say? My mom used to say, life is like a toilet paper roll. When you get to the end, it goes real fast. I'm kind of feeling that. So, Carrie, do we want to do one of the polls first, just to kind of know who we're talking with today? And Kelly, that's almost your whole group. That is fantastic.
Nice.
So this is what we need you to participate in. 1, 2, 3, go. Good job, folks. So how long have you been in business? Less than 1 year, 1 to 3 years, 3 to 5 years, 5 to 10 years, or 10 plus years.
We've got some experienced agents on this.
We do. This makes me super happy.
You know what I think about, Kathy, is, those of you that have come into the industry newly, so you're less than 1 year, I often think that probably many of you have maybe never even done a business plan before. You've probably never had to. And so I love that you're on this call today, because I think getting you in the mindset to start to think about that. And when I first got in the industry, Kathy, we had our business planning meeting in the office, and it was like a whole thing. And I was like, I'm organized. I got it. It's fine. I don't need to go. And I didn't go. Without that first year for me was a serious struggle. And then second year, I'm like, something's got to change, right? So I went, and it soared. And it was, for me, it's just seeing it and thinking about it and talking about it and reviewing it, and all of that, I think, just gets you in the mindset to keep pushing and to pivot if you need to.
Right. And I think that's been so critical. I love the fact that we've got over 45%, and I'm looking at some really top producers like Jim Dietrich's 25 plus years, Rita 5 months, welcome. So we've got real different ends of the spectrum. I'm not even going to talk about how long I've been in real estate, but I think more than ever the last 4 years, you've really needed that guide. You've really needed it, because those like Jim Dietrich's and people that have been in 25, 26 years, this is probably your third or fourth. Jim, if you will, put what cycle is this? How many economic cycles have you been through? Because I think it may be my fourth. I think it may be the longest, to be perfectly honest. I think it's deeper than 2007, 2008. I think it's longer. And when it snaps back, I think the 4 as well. Yeah. I think thank you, Jim. I think the key here is preparedness. And that's what we want to talk about today, because when it comes back, it's coming back fast. There's potential that rates may drop and have a 5 in the front. And when it does, those pent up people that are staying are going to be moving. And they're going to be moving. Thank you, Annie. I'm sorry, Amy, 25 years, 4 cycles. Yeah.
And Cindy, you're right. Q4 just started. So, I mean, the year's not over yet. There's still, some great success that can happen in this Q4. But, again, starting to think about what happened in the first 3 quarters, kind of prepare. And hopefully, if you've done a business plan, you hopefully know what you need to do in Q4 to kind of finalize that with success. But now's the perfect time to kind of start to gather all of our ducks in a row to get ready for 26 for sure. And Kathy, look, are you on track to meet your 2025 goals with that poll? It's pretty even.
Wow.
It's interesting.
How about that?
Yeah.
How about that? And wow, that really is. I hope we can keep these results, Carrie. You're exactly right. You've got to have that. I want to just really, really emphasize something. We are all tired, and we're all waiting for things to change. Please finish the 4th quarter strong. Part of today is going to be to look at 2026, but I want you to think about it like a football game, and think about that 5th quarter being Q4 of 25. Because folks, those of you that have been in business a while are going to know, if you don't have a good Q4, you will never, you've got to have a good Q4 in 25 to start out 2026 strong. So one thing we're going to talk about today is really finishing strong. I'd love to know, Carrie, how many of those people that are on track have a business plan?
Good question. So that brings us to our next poll, Kathy. Let's see what that looks like.
So have you completed a business plan in the past? This is going to be such good conversation for our watch parties.
Yes. And, you brought up a good point a second ago to finish strong in 20, this last Q4 of this year, to get that business in Q1 of next year. But that may not look like transactions. That may not look like production numbers. That is just putting in the work, making the phone calls, doing the pop buys, sending out the newsletters, talking to people, going to events. All of the things that you can do now is going to be what get you that success in transaction count and production numbers for the first part of the year.
And if I may add to that, update your CRM. One of the most critical things you can do is having those relationship calls in Q4. It's a great time. It's a season of gratitude. It's a season of holiday and best wishes. When you're having those conversations, update your CRM. You're going to be surprised, if you haven't done that in a while, how many dynamics have changed. So, wow, look at that. How often do you review it?
So that's funny, Kathy. It says most of you, 70, and I'll share the results here in a second as soon as everybody gets answered, but 76% of you said, yes, I've done a business plan. But then unfortunately, it's not being reviewed. Half of you, 51%, don't even know where the previous plan is.
I love that. Well, see, and here's why, because this was my story, because Carrie, you didn't go. I went to the business planning session, and it was the same mindset and the same feeling as, I got to have a bathing suit, and I don't want to try on bathing suits, but I have to go, right? And I got to put it on. I'm not going to come out of the dressing room. Nobody's going to see me in it, but I'll do it. And, that's how the business plan was. And then the next time I looked at it was when I had to go back, right? Get another bathing suit and put that on. So that didn't work until I was coached, and I had accountability, and we'll talk a lot about that today. Yeah, it didn't click with me. It just didn't. I didn't know that was such an essential part.
Yeah, this is incredible.
And Darlene, you bring up a great point. Thank you for sharing. We all have unexpected things that happen to us and around us and in the market. And the thing about a business plan is it gives you that opportunity to adjust, right, to pivot, as Carrie said earlier, and to come back even stronger, if you will.
Cindy, I appreciate your shameless plug of our programs. Cindy had said she recommends budgeting in your business plan to do our coaching programs starting the beginning of the year. And we're going to talk about those programs here at the end of the call today. But I agree 100%. I mean, if you need kind of that nudge and that motivation and you're struggling a little bit, we're going to talk about some good plans to be able to put you in the right headspace, and then give you some accountability, which is pretty much what you need, right? I mean, accountability is absolutely crucial.
I think probably, Carrie, for most of the people on the call, the challenge isn't setting the goals, it's reaching the goals, and it's achieving them. So this isn't a poll, but this is going to be a question, and you can discuss it or you can put it in the chat line, the consensus of the group. If you think about goal setting, do you think about your goal setting more as a speedometer or as a compass? Do you think about it more for speed or direction?
Direction, yeah.
Yep.
Good. That's what we'd hope you'd say.
But you know what? I think a lot of us think about it for speed. It's like, I got to make money. I got to make money now. I got to get a closing. I've got to do that. So I love it. Really is, Melissa, you're right. It can be both, but there's a statistic, and I might make part of it up because I do that, but I always tell you when I make it up. But the first moonshot, I think they were on track. It was less than 10%. So over 90% of the time they were course correcting, and both the Earth and the Moon were moving. That's the key. And that's the thing about our business. We're not selling widgets. It's not that we can have X number of widgets and we need this many buyers. It's constantly moving. So we really have to think about it more as that directional, that navigation of what direction are we going in and how are we going. And Carrie, I think the biggest challenge with that is we have too many choices. Right. I think we've got too many choices of what business plan do we use. Someone said in here that, they've got an old one and it needs to be revitalized. We've got that for you. Carrie's going to pull that up in just a minute. But I think it's the paradox of choice. And I think if you look in our society, we just have too many darn choices. 85 flavors of Oreos. I just bought the ones that are the Halloween that have orange in the middle because my grandson loves those.
I think there's a pumpkin spice one.
There is 85 flavors. I mean, I just thought they were like double mega. I mean, is that not ridiculous? 85. What's more ridiculous is Crest comes in 40 varieties, 40 different varieties of toothpaste. I mean, you don't have that many teeth. Do you have? I might not. 42 teeth, and there's almost a flavor for every tooth. Head and Shoulders. 60 versions. I mean, you don't even taste that. You put it in, you wash it out, right? But 60 different choices. Coca-Cola's Freestyle Machine, the one that spins, has 125 different combinations. And we have to simplify. I think my word for the year 2024 was simplify, and it may be my word for the year for 2026, because I think we need to slow down, simplify, and we can achieve greater success faster that way. So,
Kathy, I was going to say, I mean, like you said, there's a million different business. There's a one-page business plan. There's a, and ours used to be almost 30 pages, and we've knocked it down because it can be a little bit overwhelming. But for a mind similar to mine, and many of you on this call know me, spreadsheets are my love language. And so I love forms. I love the questions. I love the thought-provoking things to kind of pull that out of me. And so it really depends on what you want to do. But we always say, like a CRM, the best business plan is the one you're going to use. And so whatever that looks like for you, but we want to try to make it easy for you. We have one, and I'm going to pull it up for us right now. Kathy, are we ready for that?
We are. And, I will say to you, we have simplified it. And if you're, and we'll get to this, and I would love some comments from our experienced people. You got to measure what you do too. So only part of it is deciding what you want to do. The rest is how you're doing in the process. So this is a business plan.
And this is in One University already. You should be able to find it. And as we go through it, we'll talk about, there's 4 worksheets that are in association with the business plan. And Kathy, to be honest, I almost think those 4 worksheets pack more of a punch and are more valuable than anything.
And unfortunately, I think people pull the business plan and they don't pull the worksheet. So we wanted to make sure we talk about that. And it is, Liz, you're right, simple is better. And we've simplified the navigation tools as much as we can. It's going to be a great group exercise.
Yeah, it's going to be good. And then if you can't find it at One University, you can always email coaching@realtyonegroup.com. I can send you this as well as the 4 worksheets. So either way, find it however you need to. We'll have it ready for you. So it starts out, Kathy, with what areas of your business do you want to focus on? For some of you, what does that look like? What does that even mean? What areas of my business?
And we're a more holistic approach. I think our culture dives into that, and we want to make sure that we're covering all aspects of everything that we look at. So, as we go through this, we can, we'll be able to see that we've got that. One thing that, let me ask this question. How many people need leads? I hear that all the time. Augustine, I'm glad you're doing the worksheets. You really need to. By the way, for the worksheets, they have to be downloaded. Jim, I'm guessing the reason you don't need leads is because after 25 years in the business, you are new agents always ask for leads. You're right. But a big part of this business plan and a big part of what we're going to be talking about is focusing on the business you've already done. If you're new to the business, it doesn't have to be closed transaction. It's going to be relationship. This is a relationship business. Referrals would be better. You're right, Teresa.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think too, when you start thinking about what your business plan looks like, you focus, and of course this question is asking specifically about business, but if you see kind of in the text below, your goals can be bigger than that. They can be personal goals, they can be health goals, they can be spiritual goals, they can be work-life balance, more family time, make enough money to go on vacation, like whatever that looks like for you, this is your plan. Nobody's going to stand over your shoulder and say you can't plan for that, because this is what you want to do and what's going to, help you thrive next year.
Jim says 87% of their team does business from referral, and he's been a Buffini follower. We'll talk a little bit more about that, Jim. Thank you. So, Carrie, as we look at the next things, we look at what else are we measuring. We're going to design the action that works for you, create and maintain a daily schedule. And we've got some tools that are going to really narrow it down to bite-sized pieces and not make it so overwhelming. We like to think that overwhelm is underprepared. And so we want to get you out of that overwhelmed and that panic and get you into a more fluid. People want balance and people want consistency. And I've always thought real estate is more like the ocean. If you're landlocked, you may not understand that, but it's ebb and flow. I mean, and you're going to have those storms like we've just had on the East Coast. We had a wicked nor'easter come through, and then you're going to have those calm, beautiful days. And that really is what real estate is. And what a business plan is going to do is get you into that ebb and flow. It's going to help you ride out the storms, and it's going to help you really enjoy the easier times. And it's about being consistent.
And look at that. Establish a budget. Kathy, I think one of the things that people don't consider is, especially if you're new to the industry, right? You're coming in and you're vomiting out cash just to even get hooked up at an office between your courses and your testing, and then, become members at the association and the MLS and like all the things. And you may not think about it that way, but your budget is such a huge part of what you're doing. And Kathy, you talk about this all the time. Make an effort to go through your credit card statement and, look at those free trials you forgot to cancel and what you're being charged for.
In coaching, that's always my December challenge for people is go through your credit cards, and everything that you go, what the heck is that, is probably something that you signed up in those fast months that passed by so quickly for a 30-day trial that you forgot.
And those $7.99 charges add up.
They do. Did we have something about budgeting we were going to ask, or no? Yeah,
we did, but yeah, I think we should go through this.
Okay. Okay, keep going.
We'll jump into that. Yeah.
That's why you're driving. Okay.
First stop, though, too, after those initial stages is to look back at what this year looked like. And of course, those of you that are brand new to the business, this is not necessarily going to be applicable, but it can start to get your mindset going for what you need to do next year and start to prepare for that, which I think is really, really important. We do have another worksheet that we'll go through with you that kind of really talks a little bit more specifically about what you did this year, so you can help set those goals for next year.
And Esteem, I will tell you, when you guys next week do that business plan and you do the snapshot, wow, that one is so painful. That one makes you squirm in your chair, because it really makes you identify not only the business that you closed, but the business that fell through the cracks. Mm-hmm. And in coaching, I've often had agents say, I want to double my business, and it's achievable. It's follow-up. It is the consistency of what you have to do to make sure that you are catching what's falling, and that if you need assistance, you have assistance. If that's a transaction coordinator, if that's making sure that you're using the tools and the resources that we have with Realty ONE Group, whatever that could perhaps look like.
Well, and then, Kathy, too, those questions, what was my sales goal? What was my transaction goal? Did I achieve my goals? That's why it's so important to review this business plan often. And we'll talk about how often here in a bit, but otherwise you get to the end of the year like we are now, or at least, close to the end of the year, and you're like, shoot, I didn't realize I was so off track. And now you've missed the opportunity to pivot or to course correct, because that's okay to do. Like, this isn't about pointing out your failures and what you didn't achieve. This is about, okay, what I was thinking I wanted isn't happening. So how can I make it happen? What can I do differently to make it happen? And I love that word pivot, to be able to go, okay, it's not happening. Now what? How can I change things up a little bit to see if I can really achieve that? And reviewing this plan is going to give you the opportunity to do that.
Esteem, if you would respond, you've got in there the business plan should have boundaries. Tell us what boundaries you think there should be in there, because I really like that perspective. Mm-hmm. That's different.
Yeah.
26 goals. Can't believe we're even saying that.
No, seriously.
And we can keep right on rolling, Carrie, if you want to. We'll see how they respond, and I bet that's going to be great.
Yeah. And again, this is so important to look back and then be able to utilize those numbers to, think about what 26 looks like. We talk about, Kathy, a lot in Rev Up Rapid Launch and even in Level Up, which we'll talk a little bit more about those programs here if you're not familiar. But we talk a lot about being specific, and maybe Esteem, this is what you're referring to as far as boundaries, but it's those SMART goals, right? That acronym, SMART, be specific. It has to be something that you can track. has to be measurable, has to be attainable, a little bit risky, maybe, and then timely. You've got to have that vision when you're setting your goals. Otherwise, and we talk about this a lot in our programs too, otherwise you eliminate the opportunity to celebrate your little successes throughout the year. And that little tiny celebration of those small little tasks or those small little goals can help motivate you for the rest. And you get the taste of blood, if you will, if you start to achieve things that motivates you to continue. And I think that that's super important, don't you, Kathy?
Yes. And I love, I don't know if it's Brian or Jessica or who said, you need to identify who you or how you're going to operate, who you will work with. I love that. And then non-negotiables. And Lonnie came back and said non-negotiables. That's a great concept. In our coach up certification, we talk about that. We talk about when we're working with agents, what is non-negotiable. And I use that term a lot because your activities have to match those non-negotiable goals. And the minute you become lax on the activities, you've negotiated what that goal was. And if that goal is tuition for the kids, if it's a vacation with the grandkids, if it's putting food on the table, when you drop the ball on those boundaries that are set, you've negotiated what was most important. And so I love that. And the business plan again is available in one.u. Just go to search business plan and it's right there.
Yeah. Kathy, these questions down here at the bottom, these are some toughies. This is like a dagger in the heart a little bit, but I think it will help with the motivation. If you don't hit this goal, who's going to suffer? And that's hard to think about, right? If you're, like you said, if you're planning a vacation with the grandkids, like your grandkids are going to suffer if you don't make the goal, right? And that's not just you. Or if you're, trying to make money to put food on the table, who else in your family is going to suffer? And that's a hard question to ask yourself. But again, that's going to help motivate you. What'll be sacrificed if I don't hit my goal? And again, is it going to be negotiable or not? And you've got to establish those questions in your own head and think about that every time you do something. And these are hard. These questions, these power questions, Kathy, I think it's really, really hard to come up with the answers. In this business plan, you guys, you may not do this in one sitting. You may sit down and it might take you a week to complete this or several days because some of these questions are hard.
They are. And that's the difference of kind of halfway doing it and really being intentional with it. And I think those that have been in business a while will tell you the intentionality behind it is going to be the key to which next year when we do this, which percentage you're in as far as I've met my goals or I've achieved my goals. Betty, I love your comment. We're going to come back to that. We're going to talk about the boundaries, meaning, making sure you're protecting yourself, making sure you're, you've got the end in mind.
I love the referrals. Jim, I think you brought this up earlier too, but what are the ways that you're going to generate some of those referrals? And when it says allied resources, those are your vendor partners. Those are partners that are going to refer you as well as you referring them. It could be your lender, it could be your title person, it could be an inspector. I mean, it could be anybody. And so think about how you're going to get some referrals because you're referring them. If you get a buyer that hasn't talked to a lender yet, that's your opportunity. You're going to your title person or to the person that you're most comfortable with. So it should definitely be a two-way street for sure.
And I want to pause there a minute because I think that is one of the things in my experience I've seen overlooked so often is we tend to think about allied resources, and this has nothing to do with production. I want to take production out of it. I want to take years of service out of it. At all times, you're a salesperson. Identify with that and be okay with saying, who do you know that I should be talking to? You're not saying, who do you know that wants to sell a house? Who do you want to know that, who do you know that wants to buy a house? Who do you know that I should be talking to? You should be asking that question, not only to people associated. We tend to think of allied resources as those that surround the transaction. And it's not. It's everyone from the person that does your nails to the person that does your hair, to the person that you're in the fantasy football league with, to the person that cleans your pool or mows the grass. It should be everyone and anyone that you talk to. And it's not salesy. It's just simply, who do you know that I should be talking to? And that you should be getting at least one per quarter. You should be getting one lead per quarter for every ally from your allied sources total. Minimum.
That's a good point, Kathy. And a lot of people don't think of that. They don't think of utilizing the people that already know, love, and trust you to help in that. Great point. These are tough questions too. What are your strengths? What makes you unique? I think, at the beginning when you start talking about, what's your value proposition, your mission statement, I'm gonna be totally frank. Those make me want to throw up a little bit, those questions, because coming up with that kind of stuff to set yourself apart, it's really hard to do. Thank God we have AI now, ChatGPT and Claude. I mean, that can help us with the wording, but we still have to come up with the concept. So this might take you a minute.
Yeah, it will. And I want to address Lonnie's question. Well, Lonnie's conversation that she's in with William. How can you perform business and when you're feeling the financial squeeze? That's the reason for the budget, because it's allocation of time, it's allocation of money, it's all of that, and really getting your head around what activities do you need to be doing if you're co-career. Lonnie said a lot of people do second jobs. We call that co-career. You can absolutely do both.
And there's a difference, Kathy, between a part-time agent and a co-career agent. Yep. Huge difference. It's all about mindset.
Right.
Yeah.
Because let's face it, you wouldn't buy insurance from a part-time insurance person. You wouldn't go to see a doctor that was a part-time doctor. Now, if my insurance agent is co-career, that's an entrepreneur. And especially in, the younger generations, they're all entrepreneurs. So we're going to have to craft the dialogue and the narrative around how you want to do your business.
Exactly. So there's those 4 worksheets. Again, we're going to pull those up here in a second. And so we've talked about doing this for the whole year, right? And that's a big span of time. And for many of us, we need to kind of focus that back in and chop up the time frame a little bit, again, to give us some opportunity to celebrate. And so if you need to drop that down to your quarterly goals or tasks, your monthly goals and tasks, your weekly, your daily, all of that's going to come into play. And maybe start with the end in mind, what that big yearly goal is, and then back it out.
I was going to ask Kelly, thank you for bringing that up. How many of you have read or follow the 12-week plan, read the book? I love that. It's a different way of looking at business. And what I love about it, Kelly, is the 12-week plan, and I cannot think of the author right now, is for me, for real estate professionals, Carrie, it overcomes seasonality. Because you're not looking at this huge, awesome span of time. You're just looking at those 12 weeks. And then, you're taking off a little bit of time. So you're protecting yourself there. I love it. Robbie, you got to put that at the top of your list to read. Brian Moran. Thank you, Amanda.
That's it. 8 pages.
There you go.
I mean, we're saying it's simple, but it's not easy. That's for sure. That's for sure.
And what do you stop doing? I mean, I'd say this all the time, but let me tell you, if you're going to go to Weight Watchers, don't go with a little Debbie in your pocket, right? You've got to decide what are those bad habits. And some of it may be, I need to get dressed and go to the office. This working from remote, I've got a really clean house and a really happy pet, but I'm not as in production like I need to be. And so you're going to have to really have that self-talk and say, what habits am I participating in that are keeping me from hitting my goal? It feels good.
Yeah.
But it's not achieving what you need to be. Is it something that is giving you permission to allow negotiation where you shouldn't?
Exactly. Kelly, yes, Atomic Habits. I actually just got done rereading that. I listened to it this time, and it's James Clear's voice and his narration. And does it hit home?
It does.
It does.
Nikki, you're right. Showing up in the office is such a boost of confidence and just so many things.
Let's get into the accountability part. I'm going to launch this poll. Are you currently being held accountable? I mean, that's going to be a big part of your plan for sure. And if so, who is it? Who's holding you accountable?
Wow, look at this.
I know it. That's massive.
You guys are the best. Thank you for participating.
Wow, 100% yes, Kathy. That's huge.
Thank you all. You know what's so important about that is just making sure that that accountability partner is the right one. And what I mean by that is, are they feeding bad habits, or are they helping you maintain new good habits?
And your spouse or significant other may not be the best ability.
That's hard to admit, but that's very true.
Yeah.
And other family members sometimes aren't.
True. Good point. Broker managers, that's a big number. Kudos to you, broker
guys.
managers.
That's our C for care. But you know what? That's fairly evenly spent.
Yeah. Well, it's encouraging, Kathy. We got 88% that have accountability plan in place. And those of you that answered no, I appreciate your vulnerability, and your success may depend on it.
Jenner, good job. Marcel, nice to see you in there. You're right. You got to go back and see what's working and do more of that. See, here's the thing I love about real estate, Carrie. I never wanted to work with expireds because I felt like they were all mad. They were all mad at the first realtor. And so I could take my foot off the pedal there and really focus on other parts that I really enjoyed, and then work on that later. But you don't have to do all things well. Just find those things that you do really well that you can make money at. Marcel, you're exactly right. Know what that looks like.
Well, and that transitions us, Kathy, into the next poll question, which is, if you're focusing all of your efforts on open houses, but you're not getting the results that you had hoped, don't keep doing it.
Right.
Do the things that are working. So what does that look like for you guys? Are you tracking your numbers? Hopefully, yes. But also, what are you tracking? What is it that you're, paying attention to? Because, man, all of this stuff is just such an integral part of the business plan and your mindset and your focus to help you with that success.
Marcel, I want to go back and speak to the importance of the CRM. I want everybody on the call, regardless of what stage you are in real estate, to think about, what do I do next? What is the next chapter? And you're not going to be able to turn the page and successfully have that next chapter if you don't have your book of business in some format that is measurable and marketable. And that is your CRM. So begin with the end in mind if you're new, and get that stuff off cocktail napkins if you've been doing that for a while, and get it in a format that's a little bit easier. So are you tracking your numbers? 88%? Yes. Thank you. Those who are being honest, the 12%. Budget.
Kathy, if you look at what are you tracking, look at what the lowest one is. That conversion rate. That's huge.
And we've got an app. We've got a resolution for that. That conversion rate, guys, is, those of you that are a little bit frustrated on the call, that conversion rate is going to make all the difference in the world. And we've got a tool that's going to help you to evaluate, where is it falling apart? Where is it? My script is not good. My closing is not strong. I'm not asking for the signature. And wow, that's incredible. Source of business. We all need to be tracking that. Where's my business coming from?
Exactly.
These are going to be great conversations around the watch party.
Yep. All right, should we pull up the worksheets? We will pull up that snapshot first so we can kind of take a look at this past year and what that looks like. All right, let me share real quick.
I'm loving that the offices are setting up accountability groups and that people are meeting. I love that sense of cooperation. And what I mean by that is, you're collaborating and you're cooperating and you're all in the market working hard. And I think, Carrie, that's such a testimony to the spirit of who we are. So thank you, Tish, for putting that in.
All right, this is the snapshot, and I'll drive Kathy, but you do such an incredible job of talking through this. I'm going to let you do all the explaining.
Okay. This is really painful. I got to tell you, this is going to be one of the most painful tools that you do. Now, the tab one at the bottom, see where it says instructions, is going to walk you through the script of what I'm going to talk about right now. So page one of the snapshot is going to be, if you've been in business for a while, go to Zone and pull your business, or go whatever resource you have that book of business is in, and calculate, what is your average sales price? What was your average commission earned and your average GCI. And, your GCI is your gross commission income. So this is your snapshot. This is the rearview mirror. Okay, this is what we've done. Now, if you're brand new to the business, this tool is not going to be as helpful for you. Let me just be super, super honest with you. But then we want you to go down and say, of the listings, first gray column is my listing sold. What number, this is not a percentage, this is a number. What number were past clients? What number was sphere of influence? What number were allied resources? And we talked about what they are. Realtor referrals, when you're attending Summit, I'm going to assume you all are. When you're attending Summit, your goal is to pay for what were the realtor referrers there for listing, and then staff referrals. So if members of the staff or members of the team are giving you internal referrals, that number would go there. Then we've got for sale by owners, expireds, Kathy's kryptonite, open houses, and then farming. So are you geo farming? So are you doing geographic farming? Are you what our coach down at Freedom coaches in, Darlene coaches neighborhood domination? Is it that, or just listings, just solds? Are you mailing those out and following up? Then sign calls, ad calls that are coming in, internet, website leads, brand, what's coming in from the brand or the office, direct mail, social media, and other. This means you got to know where it's coming from, folks. Now, if it's gray, it means you're going to add that number in, and down at the bottom, it's going to calculate for you. Now, the business snapshot, all of the tools that we're using now are also going to be in One University and available for you to download. And again, Carrie, these are kind of the secret weapon or the secret sauce that sometimes people don't always look at. Our very wise friend Savag is saying the source of business equals the investment and growth opportunities. And as our digital expert, I'm telling you, we need to listen to him. So then, Carrie, we're going to go and we're going to do that same exercise, if you will, under Snapshot. We're going to complete that for all of our business. Then we're going to go to what is a potential business. So basically, we're going to track, where did our listings come from? Where did our buyers come from? What was our financial investment on those? And then what are the net results? So when we bring those numbers forward, we're just going to look at listings, buyers, commission earned, cost of doing the business, which if you're farming neighborhoods, you're going to know what that geographic cost is. If you do a buyer appreciate or a SOI appreciation event once a year, you're going to know what that expenditure is. What did it cost you to secure that business? And then your net income from that. So that page one or that tab one is going to calculate for you on each of those sources of the business. Then we go to this is the painful one. Yeah. Over in this next column is going to be how many fell through the cracks. So basically, and I'm going to give you a great example, from those open houses or from those allied resources, how much did I not follow up with? How many times did I ride by and go, doggone it, I sold them that house and someone else's sign is in the yard? Because we didn't update the CRM, Marcel. We didn't stay in touch with them. We were not top of mind. We didn't have a great digital campaign. We were not doing what we needed to be doing. We weren't that octopus that was touching them in all different ways. How many listings did we miss? How many buyers did we miss? And then the thing that becomes super interesting and super painful is it's total loss of income, because you've already spent the money in tab one. And this is a reflection of what not following up cost you. And this is where I said earlier, Carrie, a lot of coaching clients have said, I want to double my business. And when we look at this, they could have. Yep. And it also helps you to see, gosh, if I lost $46,000 in income, what would it have cost to invest in a TC? What would it cost to invest in leveraging to a virtual assistant? Those things that you think, I can't afford that. This snapshot makes you think, I can't afford not to. So again, this is so incredibly critical. It's if you're an experienced agent, even a year, you've got to say, what did I not follow up on? Open houses, not following up quickly enough. It's critical.
And I think too, don't wait until the end of the year to fill out this sheet, because the numbers may not be as accurate as you would hope them to be. And the more accurate that you can get these numbers, yeah, the bigger hole the knife's going to stab into your heart, but that's going to pack the biggest punch for you to be motivated for success in the future and to make those changes and course correct as needed.
And to Marcel's point, this is where you focus on, hey, I do this really well. I need to do this more. Or I don't need to keep throwing money into this lead generation when I'm spending $50,000 a year and I made 20. And if you're not doing this, you don't know. I can promise you, you might think you do, but you don't. It's just like saying, you know what, my pants are a little bit tight, but it's probably the dryer. And until you get on the scale, you don't know, wow, it's not the dryer. Okay. Now, one thing I want to say about this is critical. You've got to download these worksheets for them to work. Okay.
Yep. And if you email coaching, again, I'll just send them to you as Excel spreadsheets, and you'll have them available to you. Kathy, we could talk about this, I think, for a week straight, but we're running out of time, so we got to buzz. Okay. But yeah, this is it has all the formulas in it. So as you start to fill in the numbers, it's going to bring everything forward for you. So this last summary page here at the end, it's going to paint the full picture.
Yeah, this is Carrie's love language.
It's my jam. All right, now let's get the next one real quick.
And yes, you all have access to this. Even if you haven't joined Realty ONE Group yet, you can go in and have access to these tools and resources. If you have a friend that's not in your office, please download them and send them to them. And just, we lift the whole industry when we help each other. So absolutely share.
So this next one, it looks very similar to the snapshot we just reviewed, but this is the calculator. So this is now taking all that stuff that we just learned about our business, using that to now help us set our goals and predict what's going to happen for the future, for the next year. So similar format, the tabs along the bottom is going to give you the instructions, and then just start punching in the questions. How much money do you want to make at the end of next year, by the end of next year? What are those expenses? And so we'll pull up the expense worksheet here. Many of you may be using QuickBooks or some other accounting software that can kind of help you with that as well, as long as you're using something. That's going to be huge. And I think this is so important, Kathy, because I think it breaks it down. You start with the end in mind, and then you back it out, and you're like, okay, if I want to make 200 grand next year, I've got to have X amount of listings. I've got to have X amount of buyer contracts or transactions. And so it really kind of helps visualize what you need to do on a monthly basis to get you to the end of your goals.
Exactly. And this goes to the question we had in the chat about this is going to determine, and you're going to get to that in a minute, but it's going to determine how many months do I want to work, how many weeks, how many days, how many hours. And guys, it's going to pull it into such a consumable number that you're going to say, shame on me. I should increase my goal.
Yep. That's a good point. You may not work, 40 hours a week or 8 hours a day. Many of you are probably working 12 or 15. Some of you, maybe none of you work on Fridays, or you take all of December off. And you've got to use, that smaller time frame to calculate your numbers as you go through this. And this is what's important, Kathy, and I'll let you explain this sheet, because the conversion rates is what's going to give you the nuggets to get that success.
Right. And what you'll have to do is, this is, again, you're going to bring in all the numbers are going to come over, and this is going to be those performance standards of, we'll just go over listings first, and you're going to come down and see if it's gold. That means you're going to fill that in. So we're going to look at number of months that I'm committed to work, number of weeks I'm committed, and then those standards of how many days per week. Now, the most important thing on here is the conversion chart at the bottom, because you have to do this because we don't know. This is not even an AI thing. This is going to be, where am I? Am I with each of these categories? Do I, if an agent is new, average, above average, or at mastery level, what is your percentage? So if you're new, it's probably a 50-50 shot. If you're average, kind of above average, you may be at that 67%, and it's going to vary. It's going to vary per category. And then if you're above average, or if you're at mastery, if you've been doing this a long time, Jim shared that his office is 90, I think he said 90% referrals. he's going to be in that really high level of mastery. So when you pull that in, it's then all going to pull it to what do those activities look like. So once you've populated that conversion rate, you're going to see how many contacts do I have to make in each of these categories per week, per day, per week, per month to achieve those goals. And you're probably going to need to go back and adjust it as you improve, as your conversion rate should go down. If you find out I'm having a lot of listing appointments, but I am not, I'm sitting down with the people, but I'm not getting the listing, you need that accountability partner to go through your listing presentation with you. And when they do your listing presentation, where's it going upside down?
Yep.
That you're not signing. There's so many coaching opportunities around this. And that's why this conversation is going to be so extraordinarily rich for the watch parties, because you're going to be able to work collaboratively to say, what am I saying? What am I not saying?
And there's last tab on that last sheet's for the buyer side of things.
Yeah.
So it's going to pull both listings and buyers in there. And again, if your conversion rate for a listing is 20%, that means in order to get 20 listings, you have to meet and go to 100 appointments, right? So that's why this is so important. And this is another worksheet that's associated with the business plan. Again, this starts with the end in mind, and it really helps break it down for you. And of course, the formulas are all in here. So based on what you want to make from a production perspective or from an income perspective, it's going to break it down, how many listings, how many sales, and then drop it all the way down to that monthly goal. Obviously, you round up. So you would need 2 of each in this case based on these numbers, but punch in what your actual numbers are and it'll tell you exactly what your monthly goal is in order to achieve that. Now, if you get to March and you haven't done your 2 transactions in January or your 2 transactions in February, it's not throw your hands up and say, forget it, I'm already behind. It's course correct, pivot. All right, I didn't do it. Why? And how can I get there now? And then just start fresh or change your numbers a little bit. This is not meant to upset you and throw you into a tizzy to say, well, screw it, I'm so far behind, I'm done. Change it up.
And it's going to help you factor in seasonality. I mean, it's going to help you really look at how do you can bring it to a real local level, if you will.
And then the last sheet is just that budget and expense worksheet. And there's 2 tabs on this one. There's the personal one, so you can calculate what your goals are monthly and yearly, and then put in your actual numbers, and it's going to keep track of that for you to give you your annual expenses. So you can change all this. And then of course there's a business tab, for your MLS and your brokerage dues and marketing and all that fun stuff. So if you're not using QuickBooks or something to that effect, this is a really good place for you to start, to be able to kind of start to calculate what you're spending every month and how you can maybe get all that. And yes, all those 4 sheets, in addition to the business planner in One University. Again, if you have a problem finding them, just email coaching@realtyonegroup.com for all of that.
And again, when you look at that budget, go through and please visit our brand. And what are you paying for that you can get for free already? Is it Rate My Agent? Is it, are you paying for Canva when we've got one creative studio that is basically Canva on steroids, and it's branded and the assets are already there, and you can invest more time in your family, number one, or you can invest more time back into the business when you utilize what's being provided for you.
Yep. Wow, Kathy, that was fun.
That was
super fun. Thank all of you for being here and committing to a successful 2020. We didn't get the chance to talk about some exciting plans. Maybe we can do that in the next one.
Yeah, we can. And this is going to be, it's going to be a great year. We want to be your partners. We're doing a lot of things to support you and do some of the heavy lifting. So please lean into us and let us do that, because we want you to have your best year ever.
All right. Happy Wednesday. Make it a great week. Make it a great month. And hopefully we'll see you in the next one in a couple weeks.
Hey, thanks.